Hi guys, so in this part, before showing you how to write an endpoint for registering a user or how to set up our Mongodb and create the model in this particular project, I need to show you how to install Mongodb and run Mongodb in your system. I'm using Windows, but you can probably use the same procedure for other platforms like Linux or Mac. So first of all, you need to download and install Mongodb in your system from an official website of Mongodb. And once you will install it, it should be available in C drive, program files, Mongodb, server 3.2, this is the version, and the bin. And you should see all these files if your installation has been successfully done and you are go with it. So inside it you will see that we have the file Mongo that if we run this particular file in our shell or CMD, it will open up Mongo shell where we can run our different commands for creating collections, for creating JSON objects and adding different collections. Okay, this is not a part of this tutorial. You can check out the MongoDB tutorial and other videos. And we have the MongoD command that is used to add a connection with our MongoDB database. Okay, so what I need to do is, first of all, you need to go to the C drive and add a data folder inside it. Inside the data folder, you need to create DB folder. Okay, this you can create different folders like db2 that I have created, but by default the MongoDB stores all the databases in this particular directory structure. Inside the C drive we have the data, and inside the data we must have the db as the folder name. Okay, you must be creating the same folders. Okay, once it is created, you need to go to, let me go back to the program files, MongoDB, server, bin. So press shift, right click and open PowerShell window here. Okay, and inside it let's run MongoD, and this is the particular file that I'm running in this particular. I'll press enter and it will look up that particular folder that is C data and DB, and it is showing me a message that it is waiting for the connection on port 27017. Okay, if we want to see the visual representation of all the databases of MongoDB, then there is a better software, better tool for that. So I have installed RoboMongo in my system. You can check out the RoboMongo and download and install in your system. And if I run that RoboMongo in my system, it will show me that test connection localhost 27017. If I click connect and if I go back, you will see that the message has been changed, that connection accepted from port this one, 2 connections now open. Okay, and you can see that it was showing me a connection that this should be on port 27017. And when you created in RoboMongo, when you create a new connection, test connection, you must set the port 27017, otherwise it won't create the connection. So right now in that DB folder, these are the particular databases that are already created, but I'll be creating a new database for my project. Okay, so now let's open up our project. Our database is running. Now we can create a connection with our database. For creating the connection, there are different modules for the node provided that we can use. One of the most important module is the Mongoose module that I'll be using in this particular project. So for creating that Mongoose module, I will use npm install -- save and Mongoose. And if I press enter, it will start downloading this particular module. It will add the reference of Mongoose module in this particular package.json file under this dependencies key, and it will also it will add the installed files of Mongoose in node_modules folder. And then after that we can use that Mongoose in this particular index.js file. So it has been installed. You can see that it is installed right here, and it must be added in a node_modules folder right here. So in my index.js file, let's add var mongoose equals to require Mongoose. Okay, so now let's add a connection with our database. So var db mongoose dot connect, and make sure you write the same string that I will be writing here. So mongodb colon / localhost colon 27017 / and after that we need to write the name of our database that we intend to create. Okay, so right here we need to write mean auth angular. Okay, this is the database that I have created, and you can write any name right here. Okay, so this database connection is added right here. Okay, so now just like we added this default route right here, we need to create a register route right here. Okay, so for creating a register route, I'm going to copy this particular one and paste it, and I will change the name to register, and rather than get, I'm going to change it to post. Okay, so all right, so this route has been added and connection has been set up. Okay, if I want to see the connection is successfully added right here, I can error response. Okay, and here I can see if there is error, there is error in connecting with MongoDB. Okay, if there is no error, we can simply show a message connection has been added. Okay, now let's run node space index.js, and you can see that the server is running on port 3000 and it is showing me a message that connection has been added. It means that there wasn't any error and this MongoDB is running on this particular port. We can see that in this particular shell our connection is accepted from here and our MongoDB is running right here. Okay, if we right click and refresh, we won't be looking at the database right now until we create any particular collection inside it and we add the data inside the collection. Otherwise it won't be showing it. Okay, so right now we have added this register. Now let's try to call this register route and add our user. Right now I don't have front end, I don't have a registration form. For checking out my endpoint for the register, I'll be using this postman. You might be using this tool in other technologies in PHP, .NET, Ruby, Python, and this particular tool is used for checking out the APIs. If we don't have the front end, we want to check any particular API, that what kind of data is being returned, what kind of data we need to send to that particular API, we can check it from here. Okay, and if our API is not correct, there is no point of moving further for writing the front end. So I need to test my API on the back end, that whether it is running fine or not. Okay, so for this post we can add a post request, put request, patch, delete, copy, and these are bunch of requests. So I have installed and downloaded it for running my post request on this particular route. We can see that we have the localhost colon 3000 / register. This is the particular route that we can we need to call right here. Okay, so and the data that will be received from that postman will be inside request.body. Okay, we need to send a JSON data from a front end or a postman in the form of JSON. So we can get if we have a first name, we have the last name, we can get request.body.first name, request.body.last name. Okay, so I have set up this this to post, and I have pasted the particular URL that needs to be called, and inside the body I need to select the raw, and inside the raw I need to select the JSON. Okay, this is the data that was already added. I was testing and running out this application, and this is the data. Okay, and the data that I need to add is the first name Umair, last name Jamil. Okay, and we have the email and the password, and we have set up our JSON right here. Okay, and if I press send, it will navigate to that particular route, and it will execute that API, and it will add whatever we will write inside it will execute that particular code. Okay, and obviously we need to add a user in our database. Okay, so first of all, let's fetch all the data. So first of all, we have the first name, request.body.firstname. So let's copy, paste, and paste. We have the last name, we have the email, we have the password, and let's copy the names from here to here. Okay, now for creating a particular model in our database, we need to create a schema for that. Okay, we know that the schema should have a first name, last name, email, and password, but using that Mongoose technique, we need to create a schema for that. And there is a recommended way for doing that. We need to create a folder in our backend project, and I will write models, and inside the model I need to create a file user.js. okay, and in this particular file I need to create a schema. Okay, so first of all, using the mongoose command, I need to create a schema. For that I need to require mongoose. So mongoose is required. Now user schema equals to mongoose dot schema. We have the first name, and the type of the first name would be string, and it is required. Okay, so let's copy, paste it 3 more times, and this one is the last name, this one is the email, this one is the password. Okay, so schema has been added. Now we need to export this particular schema so that we may able to use this schema in this particular file. So var user module.exports equals to mongoose.model user and the user schema. Okay, we have created our model, and in the same way, if we want to create the notes model, we need to first create the schema like this inside this particular folder, and then we will be able to use that particular thing in our index.js file. Okay, so now in our index.js file we need to include that particular file. Okay, so var user require models/user. Okay, so we have required our user schema. Now we can use that particular schema for adding a particular user in our database. Okay, so in our register route, let's create a new instance of user. So var user equals to the new user. Okay, now user dot first name equals to first name, and I'm going to copy this same line 3 more times. Let's paste the last name, email, password, and password. Make sure that the spellings of this schema should be same as the data that we need to send from our this postman. Later on we will be creating our front end, and we will be calling the register API from the front end. This is just for testing. I'm using postman just for testing whether the register API is working fine or not, whether it is adding the particular user in our database or not. Okay, so this is the way that we can test our APIs without creating our front end. Okay, so that's it. Now we need to save that particular user in our database. For saving it, user.save is a function, and the first parameter is the error, second is the result. Let's write the ES6 syntax, and if there is an error, then console log there is an error in adding user in database. Okay, and I will send the if there is an error, I'll send the response, send status, let's send the 500 response. If there is no error, let's send response dot send status 200, which is the success status. Okay, so we have set up our code in our register API. We have set up our user inside it. Okay, so now let's run our server. There is an error string required. Okay, let's go to user. Sorry, required needs to have some value. Okay, I need to add true right here. Let's copy it and paste. All the 4 fields are required. Now let's run our server again, and we'll see that our server is running, connection has been added. Okay, now from the postman, we have already set up our JSON data. We have already added our body. We have set up our kind of request that we want to execute. We have set up our register API here. Now I'll click on the send, and there is an error. It is showing a can't read property first name of undefined. Okay, in which line? This is the 20th line. So let's go to index.js. So request.body dot first name. Okay, let me request.body, let me log it to see whether the data is being received correctly or not. Let's run our server again and node index.js, and let's go to postman. Let's click on send, and it is undefined. It means that our postman is not sending a correct data to this register route. So the reason it is not sending me the correct data is because we need to use some kind of middleware for getting the data in our request.body object. Okay, but Node provide us a module called body parser that we can use in order to receive the data using the post requests. Okay, so in my terminal, I can write npm install -- save body dash parser. Okay, it's going to download this particular module and it's going to be added, and after that we can use that body parser right here. Okay, it has been added. Now let's write var body parser require body parser. Okay, it has been required. Now after the port, let's write app dot use body parser.json. Okay, now we have added our body parser that it is going to receive, it is going to work like a JSON. Okay, so now let's run our server. Okay, I don't need to install it again. Okay, so let's run our server, node space index.js. Now connection has been added. Now let's go to our postman and I'll click on send, and you can see that it is showing me the data correctly right here, and this is because I added the console log right here. Okay, so if I go to postman and if I go to header, it is returning me okay, means that the 200 response was returned and user has been added in our database. Okay, Now let's go to our RoboMongo and refresh the test connections, and we will see that a new database is being shown, and this is the database that we added right here, and it is dynamically created. We don't need to create the database first manually, and we need to create the collection first. And inside the database, if we go to the collections, we see that there is a users collection right here. If I click on it, and we can see that we have the first name Omer, we have the last name, we have the email, and we have the password. So this particular user has been added in this database. So our connection has been established, our data has been added using this particular port, and our application, our template, a kind of thing is running fine. In the next video, I need to create a front end and creating the form for registering a user, and from the front end I need to call this particular API for registering our new user. And one thing more, if you look at this particular database, we can see that there is the password visible. We need to encrypt this password. In the next video, I'll be also doing this encryption of this password so that it may not be visible as it is in this particular database.